So into the refrigerator and pushes it back. And then he looks her in her face, looks like she's about to have a heart attack. Then he notices the pie on the counter, one slice is missing. Now the story's getting scary, cause he comes to realize that Bridget is allergic to cherries. Then he slowly looks up at her, and now her face is red as hell. He's breathing real hard, moving closer. She says, oh, you don't look so well. And then he says, move. She says, no. He says, move. She says, no. Bitch, move. She moved. And then he looks at the cabinet. Now he's opening the cabinet. Now pause the movie, cause what I'm about to say to y'all is so damn twisted. Not only is there a man in his cabinet, but the man is a midget.
Thank you so much to the creator who shared this horrific story about her brother and his ex-girlfriend. We have to talk about this to spread safety and awareness as women. I first saw that reveal, the scream that I scrumped was worthy of a horror movie. And it is a horror movie, but it's so important to talk about this because I'm always telling you all, male-centered women are dangerous. And this demonstrates why they're dangerous, because they are so intent on seeing men through rose-colored glasses, they won't even protect themselves. This woman is volunteering to stay sequestered for weeks at a time in a one-bedroom apartment with an adjudicated rapist. Not only does she know the news story that we all know, she has been his close friend since childhood. So yeah, she's probably seen him do this and worse. But she's voluntarily opening up her home to this man, going to sleep at night with him in her place because she thinks he wouldn't do it to me. I'm not like those other women. And it's so important to analyze this case because it really demonstrates some empirical truths about what male-centeredness is. A lot of women mistake the woman who is male-centered for a woman who wants romantic male attention. There's a lot of overlap, but that's not always the case. The woman in this story, Brock Turner's childhood friend, has her own boyfriend, somebody else completely. And clock it, she's even willing to endanger that relationship to host the rapist. I mean, already the news, my male bestie is coming to stay with me in my one-bedroom apartment is not going to be a thrill a minute to most men. Of course, according to the OP, as soon as her brother found out who this childhood friend was, he broke up with her. But even before that, the woman was saying things that escalated the situation. Oh, not only is he coming to my one bedroom, we're going to be alone most of the time because he just cannot go outside. And that's because in the mind of this male-identified woman, protecting masculinity is more important even than her own relationship. Male-centered women have a higher value for men than they do for women. Not only do they accord men more humanity automatically, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say they see them as superhuman. Meanwhile, there's a complete lack of empathy for women, a complete lack of humanity for them. Firstly, she lacks empathy to a truly astounding level for other women to be able to be besties and hang out with a rapist. And this lack of empathy causes her to dehumanize other women. But it also causes her to not be able to fully conceptualize that she's a woman and that she could very easily be subject to the same type of abuse by Brock Turner, who is an adjudicated rapist. And I'm going to keep on saying it. Shout out to the professors who made Brock Turner the literal definition of grape. You're doing God's work. But because genuinely male-identified women accord men more humanity, they believe that anytime a woman has been harmed by a man, they've done something to cause it. You know, this girl probably thinks that, the young woman who he assaulted got too drunk and that everything that happened was her fault and that Brock would never hurt her because she's not that kind of girl. People also often mistake male-centeredness for a desire to proximity for power or to power. Again, there's a lot of overlap with that, but it's not a one-to-one ratio because Brock Turner right now is the definition of powerlessness. This woman is making herself a pariah by hanging out with him. Like literally, if this ever gets out, if her name gets attached to this video, she's going to find herself in the same boat as him. It's not about proximity to power. It's about male validation and these women's value system. In their minds, men are worth more than women. So she's going to derive a sense of satisfaction, of worthiness from being there for them. Even the way she says in the story, oh, he got canceled. No, he got convicted of a felony. He's on the registry. He's a violent felon. But she sees him as a martyr, as someone who's wrongfully suffering because he's being made to pay for his actions of assaulting a young woman. because in her value system, men are worth more. Just like his father, she believes he shouldn't have to pay with his life for his 20 minutes of action, quote. And she becomes a better woman in her mind by not being oversensitive like all those other women who just didn't take the time to get to know him. She's not about cancel culture and being a feminist. She's a good woman. She probably thinks wokeness has just gone too far, and now men are afraid to approach women. Being male identified really is rose-colored glasses on steroids. These women are so obsessed with giving men the benefit of every doubt. Despite the mountain of evidence to the contrary, they will put their friends or even their own children in danger to please and appease a man. And it doesn't matter how much evidence you show them, it's never enough. For those who aren't familiar with the story of Brock Turner, when eyewitnesses came upon him assaulting this poor unconscious girl behind a dumpster, what they saw was so horrific, they had PTSD from the experience. He had to be pulled off of this unconscious girl. Everybody's in agreement about what happened. The first responders, the law enforcement, the eyewitnesses. And he has never said, I didn't do it. His own father said, yeah, he did it, but he doesn't deserve to be punished for it. So this is no he said, she said. We all know what happened. But women like this friend defend men like this because they want good woman status. I need you to catch this. The women who are the most staunch defenders of men who have been convicted of crimes like this have had the most opportunity of seeing them in unguarded moments. So if the predator operated in his workplace like Bill Cosby, who was defending him? His co-workers. They've seen it all. They saw those women on the set. They know what's going on. It's not because they believe this man is innocent that they defend him. It's because they know him to be guilty. But they want that good woman status. They said, it doesn't matter what happens as long as my life is safe. I won't be in any danger as long as he doesn't think I'm easy, I'm this, I'm that. There's absolutely a sense of disdain towards other women and also inherent superiority over other women. That's why the rallying cry of these types is, well, he never did X, Y, and Z to me. It's not, he's a man of the highest integrity and he wouldn't do blah, blah, blah. I always seen him be faithful to his wife. It's always, he has never harmed me. Not, he treats all women with respect. He would never violate any woman this way. Just, it didn't happen to me, so it doesn't matter. I mean, look at the music industry. It's the same thing. Who's defending R. Kelly? The Erykah Badu's and Jill Scotts of the world. Chris Brown, too. There's an endless list of women who will go on tour with him, who will collaborate with him, who will be alone with him because they feel like I have good woman status. That will protect me. They don't think he's innocent. They just think I am so special, I cannot be harmed. The only people who are being harmed by him are the peasantry. They're the bad women. But it's the only way they can cope. I've been telling y'all for a long time, 0 women are in disagreement about what's going on with men. Even the most pick-me, even the most male-centered woman can give you the broad strokes of what's happening in the world and do it accurately. I think any woman could tell you there's an uptick in this bitter, misogynistic bent in the way that men communicate in everyday life, even at the highest levels of government. We look at the laws that are being passed and being discussed, and there's a palpable sensation of anger towards women. There's a measurable uptick in violence towards women from men, which can be seen in things like men punching random women in New York. And on a personal level, even the woman with the most rosy outlook in the world will tell you the dating scene is a mess right now. Men as a whole are certainly not looking to treat you like a lady. So everyone agrees on the facts, but the difference is how male-identified women want to approach solving the problem. They will pretend to validate women's concerns. Yes, men have been violent. Yes, we are experiencing discrimination and issues in the workplace, but their solution is for you to change. If in the post-Me Too world you're afraid of being harassed, don't ever be alone with a man. And cover up when you go to work or to the gym, and that'll solve the problem. Because, going back to my earlier point, they believe any woman who's being violated by a man or hassled by a man deserves it. It was brought on her by her own behavior, and if you were to change that behavior and be a good woman, you'll never have any problems. And that is why they will so happily align against women's interests and be genuinely shocked every time when it doesn't work out for them. I talked about why so many white conservative women out of Texas who then needed abortions after the ban went into effect were so surprised at the vitriol the state displayed in basically leaving them to unalive. And they came to the front with their good woman credentials. But I'm married. But I planned my pregnancy. It's just I got sick or I had a miscarriage and now I need care. I need health care in the form of an abortion. How can you do this? How can you leave me to get septic? How can you see that I'm suffering and not help me? And they went on the news with that same logic. I never thought this would happen to me. I didn't think it was going to happen to other women, but I didn't think my good woman credentials were going to be questioned. I didn't think they were going to treat me as poorly as they did the other women. There will be no exception to the rule. There will be no Scooby snacks for the good women who align with patriarchy. Be aware, because they walk among you, they will sell you out for the slightest bit of male validation because they will sacrifice their own safety for male validation. There's no reasoning with these creatures. People are often like, oh, it's a problem of ignorance, teach them, and then they won't be male identified anymore. No, even their own lived experience cannot make them less male-centered. Just listen for the phrases that will identify them to you. And when you hear and see these women, run the opposite direction. It will save your life. That's it. Like and follow for more.